there any time in your life that you didn't know that singing would be your life, or did you always know that you would be a singer?
No, I don't think I did. I was generally interested in playing the guitar. I was an 11-year-old kid, and I got one of these guitars from Kresge, and I'm sure it was a way to finally vent out my frustrations, because we just moved into a new neighborhood. It was sort of, everything was very awkward and alien, and I'm probably at that age where things, you know, it's hard to sort of get to make new friends. And eventually I just got kind of tired of learning what some, you know, like Go Talent Rodeo, whatever, you know, my friend was sort of saying, do this. And I sort of slipped into writing my own material and singing. I think all through my teens, even though I was singing and stuff, and, you know, I was too young to appear in clubs, so I would try and get any space I could on television to try and find out whether these songs were good or not. I think I, inside, for fear of failure or whatever, always denied that this is what I wanted to do, and I sort of was going to school going, oh, it's just something I do, it's just something I do.
How would you describe this new album, as opposed to Human Forces?
As opposed to Human Forces, I guess the major difference is that Human Forces was a nucleus of Mick Ronson and myself as the sole performers and sole arrangers and sole producers. What makes She different is that there's an element, a combination of what I hope to be, you know, extremely talented musicians that hopefully we've gotten together and we're able to sort of convey the ideas that were originally just the seed of an idea coming out of my head.
Are you getting some fried tauntauns here?
But I would rack my brains all night sort of trying to think, where did I play in Canada 10 years ago? I know I was here, and I know it was like 10 years. So, you know, 10 years means I was a teenager, you know, I was 19 and I'm 29 now, and I think everyone sort of grows up and becomes a slightly different person, but I guess the nucleus is still the same, and somewhere in that nucleus there's still a nervous person.
Considering that you've been away from the Canadian ear for a few years, the response that you got on the Much Music simulcast, because it wasn't as if it was a comeback, it was that, let's see what's happened to Lisa in the last few years. Like, you're really welcomed with open arms here, which is, it could be, artists just aren't treated that way. There's usually not that much generosity.
I was completely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Maybe time, everyone needs time. I mean, maybe that's what it took from the last album to this. Everyone grows, everyone makes changes in their life and they make decisions. And I'm just sort of grateful that I had that opportunity. I not only got to sort of, you know, normally people have launch parties and you sort of stand around and you drink a cocktail and you hear strains of your record in the background and you're sort of going, maybe I shouldn't have put that part down. You're sort of kind of being pulled away this way. This was a perfect opportunity to just be myself and perform. So I couldn't have asked for a better situation, really.
I want to wrap your fingertips around the back of my neck. Your eyes shut tight, my cigarette tastes sweet, heartbeat, heartbeat. When I begin, tangle skin to skin. My castles in the moonbeam. Let's tango, we tango forever. Your alarm and fall into my arms. Let's tango, let's tango.
The songs on this record are very produced. There's lots of instrumentation and arrangement, and you can sort of dig through the layers all the way through it. Now, do you actually hear that when you're at first writing the songs?
I hear it coming out that way.
Okay.
And I think I always have, but I never had the means to express those ideas. I would always hear sounds, but I had never really, you know, given myself the time to sit down in front of keyboards or whatever sounds and really sort of shape them. or with just this little flick of a button, any little idea I have kind of gets recorded, plus my drum machine, and it's all kind of slaves one after the other. Listen to the buzz. Ah! Prior to the Who Man Forces record, I sort of had 3 or 4 years of not much to do, and wasn't writing for any record in particular. And that's when I started to experiment and really get interested in taking the time to find out about sounds and find out how to actually make them, things that I was hearing in my head. And I think that most writers today do. I mean, you might sit down and write on a keyboard or guitar, but in order to eventually sort of express an idea and demo it for a producer you might want to meet, you eventually start to realize as much of that idea as possible and interpret it on a tape, so that a producer or the record company will get a real concise idea of what you're about. And so it's always taken shape that way. You sort of arrange and write at the same time.
Coming from. This is a one-way conversation. Talk to me, talk. Will you talk?
Want to be presented as a traditional, beautiful woman.
Mm-hmm. Well, after so many years of sort of feeling packaged and taking some of the blame and responsibility for allowing it to happen, because I didn't understand the ramifications of it, and the ramifications are, if that's not who you are, and then you do an interview and they ask you why, are you happy with this, or why did you do this way? And you go, well, you can't say, well, I didn't, it's not my fault, they made me do it, because you look like an absolute idiot. And you realize you must be an absolute idiot if you kind of allow that to happen.
Good. Love that. Very simple. Like it. Very good. I like it. Looking good. Looking good. Okay.
Well, tell me what to do.
No, you're all right. Don't do anything. Just sit there, hands in your pockets. That's it, simple. Good.
If they airbrush my nose one more time, and that happened, drawing out, cutting out cleavage on pictures that didn't have any, and then getting the album and going, what is this, I realized that there were certain things that there is a sense of, and I hate to use the word control, but there is a sense of sort of being control of your own destiny. And that means if you present yourself in a way that you're happy with, you can't be photographed in a bad way. If you sort of come to a photo session with a sort of low-cut outfit and a jacket that sort of can come off, they might say, take off that jacket. And if you don't want to take it off, you sort of look like a creep, going, well, I don't want to take it off. So you just come and appear the way you want to be, and that sort of falls hand in hand with everything else that I was feeling about the musical side of me. I must have been about 13, and during that year at school, there was an Ontario government-sponsored deal where they would go around to your high school or grade school and look for about 35 kids that they thought had something to musically offer, and then they would sort of get us together, put us in a very creative environment, exchange ideas, write songs. We all could play instruments of different kinds, so form in bands inside this group of 35 kids, and then travel around the province of Ontario for about 2 months. And my girlfriend and I auditioned, and you had to be, I think, 15. Anyway, I lied. I was 13. And after 2 months of doing nothing but music, I was completely hooked. And couldn't imagine doing anything else.